So we're talking about ratios and rates, and we're going to evaluate the number of hits and misses our friend Haley had in the archery range. And to do that, we use something called ratios. You can write it 3 different ways, using the 2, using a fraction, and using a colon. Fraction form is the most frequently used format. We'll start with example 1. And example 1 has us comparing in letter A hits to misses. So they want hits to misses. Okay? How many hits, how many to the good did she make? 44, very good. 44. And how many misses did she make?
16.
Very good. I'm going to write it the other ways too. I'm going to do 44 over 16, and I'm going to do it with that colon as well. Okay. As mentioned, the fractional form is the better, most frequently used form. It's easiest to work with and requires the least amount of pen strokes. You know me. Easy peasy. 44 to 16. Now, you might think, well, let's convert that to a mixed number. Never make ratios into a mixed number. Okay? Never make them into mixed numbers. However, you do reduce them. Okay? You do reduce them. So 44 over 16, what can both of those numbers be divided by? 2 for sure. Anything better? 4 is right. Looks like the reduced form is 11 to 4. 11 over 4, 11 colon 4. Okay? This will be the acceptable answer, easiest to write. If you want to write the other way, that's fine too. Okay? In contrast, letter B. They want us to do hits to shots. So how many hits did she make out of the total fired? Now this is a better thing to care about. To me, I want to know what percentage of the time is Haley successful. Because in the event of a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to choose the person who's the best hitter. Okay? Haley hit 44 times out of 60. Okay? Haley hit 44 times out of 60, which again I'm going to write in fraction form. 44 over 60, colon form 44 over our decimal, or colon 60. Okay? This isn't an improper fraction, but can it be reduced? What are both numbers divisible by? Again, 4. Did y'all figure out it's 4? So you should come up with 11 15ths of the time she is successful. Okay? 11 15ths. Now, those of you that have a calculator, you can quickly determine what percentage of the time that person is successful. Okay? And to do that, dividing the numerator by the denominator will give you the percentage. Looks like she is 73% shot worthy. I'll take that in a zombie apocalypse, considering I'm about a 0. Moving on. Using the archery information, we are now at checkpoint 1. Using the archery information above, compare the number of misses to shots. Misses to shots. Lily, how many misses do I got? Say again? How many misses does it say I have in the paragraph at the top of the page? 16 misses, and how many shots are there? 60. She's right. So we've got it broken down. Now let's write it in fraction form, 1660, and for practice, colon form. I'm going to reduce this by a factor of what? 4 again. What do you get? Good job, folks. 4/15. So if this is a 73% success ratio, not that that's in your book, but you could kind of say she has a 27% chance of missing based on her skills. Let's move on to the next page. Equivalent ratios. Example 2 has us determining things and comparing them and deciding whether or not they're the same. Okay, whether or not they're the same. Birds, for example. Bird lengths are compared using something called an aspect ratio, which is the length of the wing compared to the length of the width of the wing. Okay, so the length this way from shoulder to tip and the length of the width, front and back. So we've got a couple of birds there. We've got the eagle, the jay, and the gull. The question is, order the birds in the table from the greatest ratio, aspect ratio is the term, to the least ratio. Okay, white-tailed eagle, my friends. The eagle was length over width, which they simplified it to a decimal. And you're going to see why in a second. The jay's aspect ratio. He is 47 long, 12 wide, and you could see all that right up there in that little table on page 270. And the gull, the last one, need another letter there, is going to be, oops, I forgot to give you the decimal equivalent, 3.92. And the gull, 83/8, which was approximately 10.38. So in order of their aspect ratios, who's the biggest? In order of their aspect ratios, Justice. The gull? The gull is number 1. Who's the second? Eagle, which leaves J at the end. Okay? All we did was write that fraction. We divided it to achieve a decimal value or a whole number decimal value, and then simply compared them this way. It's a lot easier to do it that way. Okay? That's ratios. Rates. Rates and ratios share a lot of the same characteristics. They're just used slightly differently. Rates. Rates is when you use the word per or the phrase for every. Okay? Or the way I say it is in a. Like, how many miles do you travel in an hour? How many miles do you travel per hour? How many miles do you travel for every hour? Those are all the same thing. This is kind of a slang, but some of us use it. All right. So you're hosting a party for 12 people. The total cost is $66. Okay? What is the cost per person? So to solve this, I know that it's $66 for 12 people, right? But how do I find out what it costs per person? What do you think you're going to do? Divide it by 12. And to be honest with you, you're actually dividing both the numerator and the denominator by 12. Okay? Because instead of being $66 for 12 people, you find out that the answer is $5.50 for how many people? 12 divided by 12 is what? 1. So the answer to this question is it's $5.50 per person. Okay? Philip? A jet flies 540 miles per hour. So this was 3. I didn't write that. Example 4. Example 4. a jet flies 540 miles per hour, right? They want us to find out how much it travels per minute, okay? In order to do this, you need to convert this unit rate to instead of hours, minutes, okay? So, back in the red book, they taught you, I'm not sure, unit multipliers. Isn't that the phrase they use for that, unit multipliers? Well, so it's miles and it's hours. To convert it using unit multipliers, like you guys who were here last year had in the red book, you multiply what you have by the unit multiplier that will convert it from hours to minutes. Okay? And the unit multipliers in question would be 1 hour over 60 minutes or 60 minutes over 1 hour. Now, the trick is you need to choose the right one to multiply by. The one you want to multiply by has the new unit, minutes, as the denominator. So am I going to use this one or that one? First one is right. 1 hour over 60 minutes. Okay? Causes our hours to cancel out. I ran out of room. Gives us 540 miles divided by 60 minutes, which you what came up with 70? Am I right? No, I'm not right. 90. 9 I mean. 9. 60 goes into 549 times. So it's 9 miles per minute. Okay? We divided both pieces by 60, and instead of 540 miles in 60 minutes, I reduced it to 9 miles per minute. Yes, ma'am? Well, that's what you did. That's exactly. But you did do it, whether you're realizing it or not. By doing 540 over 60, the first thing you did was converted it. You just didn't write it down. Okay, so you're already making that step, but this just shows you why you're able to make that step. If you do that portion in your head, I don't care. Okay, last thing we're going to do, example 5. Equivalent rates. Okay, equivalent rates. A miniature robot can crawl through pipes and vents that humans can't access. The robot travels 1 inch in 3 seconds. 1 inch in 3 seconds. Okay. 1 inch in 3 seconds. How much will my friend, the robot, travel in 4 minutes? 4 minutes. Okay, 1 inch in 3 seconds. How many inches will he travel in 4 minutes? So the unknown is a distance, right? But there's a problem here. The original rate of travel is in seconds. The new rate of travel would be 240 seconds, but they converted it to minutes, didn't they? So you've got to be careful that you account for the fact that they're using different measurement types here. So you can't simply just say 1 over 3 equals how much over 4. Okay? First off, we're going to take our robot's rate and change it to inches per minute. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is take what I know, which is 1 inch in 3 seconds, and convert it to inches per minute. Okay? Inches per minute. First of all, let's find our unit multipliers. 60 seconds per 1 minute, and the other one would be 1 minute per 60 seconds. What can I multiply this by that will convert it to minutes? The first one or the second one? Correct. 60 seconds, 1 minute. By doing that, I cancel out seconds and I end up with 60 inches over 3 minutes, and I end up with 20 inches per 1 minute. When I reduce this, right? Reduced it by 3, that gave me this. Does everybody see how I went from here to here? Okay, you always use the unit multiplier that will allow you to cancel out the old and give you the new. That means the new one has to be the denominator. Okay, we wanted minutes, minutes is in the denominator. Okay, I'm not done yet. I know 20 inches in 1 minute, but how far is he going to go in 4? How far is he going to go in 4? Well, if I multiply this by 4 minutes over 1, I end up canceling out minutes, and it looks like I get 80 inches. Does that make sense? You have to follow, though, the steps, being cautious about your units and using the proper unit multiplier like you were taught last year. Okay. How many feet does he travel? Am I done?
No.
What do I got to do now? Yes, ma'am. Convert this to feet, right? Now, you all might think just divide it by 12, but I'm going to show it to you using the unit multiplier. So, 12 inches is the same as 1 foot. 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. Which one allows me to convert it to, let's try this again. 12 inches is a foot. 1 inch is, or 1 foot is 12 inches. Good grief. 1 foot is 12 inches. Okay. 1 foot over 12 inches. So what are we going to use? The first one. Multiply it by 1 foot over 12 inches, which all of you would have just said 80 divided by 12, Mrs. Myers. Fine. And you'll end up with 6 2/3 feet. Now, if you would have quit and just given me that, I would have had to mark it wrong because the question clearly states feet. Okay? So be careful with that. Okay. I am going to have you guys do the guided practice. I would like you to do 5 through 9. And that's on page 272. Okay? 5 through 9.